Hi, everyone, and welcome to another wonderful session here at Crypto Miners, another Twitter Space session. As always, my name is Jenny, and I am going to be your host. And before we begin, please, I would like to do a little bit of sound check, as you know, I have been having a bit of connection issues today. I'm not sure if it's just me or if it's general. So please, in the comment section, if you can hear me, just indicate. Thank you very much. All right. So on today's session, we will be having a chat with the team from ANote Music, and yeah, I think this one is kind of different, because we don't have so many projects that tend to combine cryptocurrency with music, right? So stay till the end of the session, and if you have any question that you would like to ask the team or what you would like to know about the project, please feel free to prepare your questions. If you're joining us for the first time, as I always say, do well to stay till the end of the AMA. Right. So I yes. Okay, so I think that the team is here already, or whoever's going to represent them. Please say
Yes.
hello.
Hi, Jenny. Hi. Nice to meet you. Thank you for having us here. My name is Marzio Schena. I'm co-founder and CEO of ANote, and really excited to be here.
Wow, welcome, Matthew. It's great to have you here.
If I have, okay, also sound check on my side in case anything happens, yes, don't hesitate to drop a message.
No, it's fine on your end, really smooth, really
Perfect.
smooth. All right.
Perfect. Let's start
Yeah.
then.
All right. So let's begin. Yeah, let's begin. Let us begin with like an introduction of the team behind the ANote Music. Apart from yourself, the CEO and co-founder, could you introduce other members of the team behind the project to us? Maybe a little bit of background prior to this project, and then we can move into the overview.
Yes, definitely. So, I mean, first of all, let me let me also introduce myself. I'm properly Marzio. I'm originally come from financial sector. I was working in finance for kind of a number of years before launching A Note Music with my co-founders. Our background is, let's say, mostly from finance. From business, finance, blockchain as well. It's three of us. Matteo is from business. He was in consulting. Greg is, he's our CTO, and he was in cybersecurity, blockchain stuff. He's the Einstein of our group. And then over the years, we have, of course, we have reached, I think right now we are 35, 40 in total, the extended team. We have experience encompassing, of course, the music industry, as well as our marketing, go-to-market, tech, as well as financial markets, legal, regulatory frameworks. So kind of really a very diverse set of individuals, and which is essential for the project that we are doing.
All right. Thank you for that introduction. Now, I am very, very curious. When this project landed on my desk and I had to prepare for it, I just found it really interesting. Not that I have any background in music, I don't, but I love music, as a lot of people do, right? And then we're investors, and having to combine both of these things that we love to do is just, beautiful. So let me ask, real quick. Um, Okay, let me begin like this. What inspired the development of this project? Were there any specific challenges or maybe
Mm.
opportunities that sort of motivated its inception? We would like to know the background story.
Yes. Let me also give a few words about A-Note. Like what we are is a marketplace to invest in music. So we open up, music as an investment, as an investment asset class to the public. So not only to record labels or maybe to private equity funds, but to everyone. And everything started when I actually happened to be in Luxembourg. I was in Luxembourg. We are based in Luxembourg, a small country in the middle of Europe, with Matteo and Greg. And each of us, we were doing our normal jobs, right? I was a fund manager in a UCITS fund, which is an investment fund, buy and hold. Matteo was in consulting again. Greg was in cybersecurity. And the point is that I was so, even if it was my dream job, being a fund manager, I was kind of bored because it was the moment of zero interest rates. So it was very, very, very complex to achieve our targets of making, relevant returns for our investors. Because if you want to achieve with low volatility in a world of zero interest rates, kind of some, stable and continuing returns out of your fund, it was very, very complex, basically almost impossible to even reach a 2% on a yearly basis of returns with low volatility. I mean, after studying and working in finance for so long. So the thing of launching ANote came from a need to look for some alternative asset classes. I don't know, I was looking for them in which you could deploy capital and generate somehow higher returns, like still kind of low volatility compared to what you could find in the financial markets. And it was not easy until the moment in which, totally randomly, honestly, I happened to speak with a music publisher, which is somehow the head of a record label, but dealing with the publishing rights of the song. And he started telling me that out of his established songs that he had the music rights of, he was making very consistent and predictable and long-term returns higher than 10%, 11%, 12% on a yearly basis. And he had been doing this for ages, for decades. And he was like, well, it's normal for us, when investing in music, it's stable. I mean, people listen to it. So this kind of, opened up something, a new area of my brain saying, okay, but wait a second. So we are here in the financial sector, which is the biggest industry on earth. We cannot make 2% on a yearly basis. It was 2016, 17, right? And then you have a huge sector like music in which there is no allocation of capital from the financial sector. And why, So the idea of somehow solving the problems of both industries, like bringing some capital of the financial markets to the music industry, and at the same time provide to the music industry investments, capital to grow, seemed like kind of a good thing to do, a huge opportunity. So that's basically kind of the story. Yes, it arises from a sense of I'm bored, but from a sense of we found a huge opportunity. And indeed, like after some years, I don't want to take too long here, but after some years, we saw that also big private equity funds had started taking exposure to the music industry, buying big catalogs. Ever since you see like Bruce Springsteen has sold his catalog to very big players in the financial markets, Justin Bieber, and, the financialization of the music industry has started, and we were, let's say, in the right place at the right moment to try to get this trend.
Beautiful, beautiful. I think that I can relate with you on, the part where you are working a job and, you do not derive satisfaction anymore for, a number of reasons.
Yes.
I think
Pretty common.
a lot of us, that is our reality every day.
Yes.
And so honestly, I congratulate you, for having broken out of that system and doing something that you love. That's beautiful. So let's talk about features and functionalities of offered by the ANote music. How does it differentiate itself from other music related platforms? I know that there are not much of them, yes, but how do you intend to stay ahead of the curve? Like, what exactly are you offering, not just investors but to music artists, and all of that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a very good question. I mean, the point is that in order to answer this question, let's take a step back and what is our goal? Again, our goal has been from day one, and it continues to be, to open up an asset class to the public. So to give everyday people that maybe don't know that much about financial markets, don't know to understand whether a song or not is worth or not, how much it should be valued. So to ease the introduction to the market of music to people. And at the end of the day, I mean, it's a market which is pretty stable, not very volatile. Everybody loves music, but it's complex to do this in a simple way, to get access to it. But at the same time, remain extremely structured. So to have the same rigor, let's say, that you find in the financial markets, when you create or when you develop or when you open up a market to the public, you need to be so careful about so many details. Make sure that there is investor protection mechanism, that people always know what's happening, that people are able to understand what is the track record of a song, why a song is going up and down. So educational and market structure and all of these things are for us essential. So when we started, what we did is that we basically copy pasted what usually happens in the financial markets and we applied it to the music industry. I mean, whenever you don't know what to do, you look at what other, successful projects, sustainable projects are doing. So we structured somehow the opportunity of buying and selling music rights in the same way in which we would have structured buying and selling a share of Apple or Amazon or General Electric or whatever, stock you want to choose. So this is why we have introduced the platform, which is based on a primary market, where we it's our IPO. Okay, this IPO is a legally financial term, but we do auctions of catalogs for the first time, divided in pieces, in shares. Then we allow for buying and selling these shares of music royalties between investors. And then we pay out the royalties on an ongoing basis, as if they were dividends. So again, this is the core structure. And then on top of this, you need to add features, as I was saying before, in order to educate one side and the other side of the market. Also, you want to make sure that there is enough liquidity, that the prices are somehow always the good reflection of what the market believes of songs, or what the market is actually thinking that the right cost of capital should be for a given song. So again, a series of things that let's say, example, inspiration from how the financial market works, but apply to the music industry. And this is something that we continuously strive, research and development. We have a very strong development team that keeps improving and so on. User interface, backend, always try to stay ahead of the market. And we are fortunate enough to be the leader in Europe. And so we intend to remain so for the many, many, many years to come.
Beautiful. Like this is really huge. As you were talking, a lot of things, ideas just forming in my head. And honestly, we will come to the aspect of the token utility, and definitely that is from the perspective of an investor. An investor just wants to hear you talk about the token utility. But before we get to that, there are parties involved in this project that could benefit from the project. We're talking record labels, music artists, and investors. Now let's talk about the music artists, because I feel like they are at the heart of the project, right? So let me ask. Yes. How does ANote music work for artists? Like, how do you empower artists and provide opportunities for growth and recognition? Because recognition and growth are very, very, in fact, extremely important to these artists. That is one of their dreams, to be recognized worldwide. So how does ANote music plan to empower them and provide these opportunities for growth and recognition?
Yeah. It's an interesting question. Well, the point is that as we want to put it, but we don't have, let's call it a magic wand, right? So we are not here to make promises of, we know we have the magic recipe to make sure that you're listened to more, or that you will have higher popularity if you do A, B, or C. No, that's honestly impossible. It's not my job. It's not our job. It's a job of maybe of a record label. It's a job of a manager. It's a job maybe of a music publisher, or it's the job of an artist, right? To properly recognize and to understand how to promote himself and his own music. But our job is probably a different one that has, though, a reflection on this, which is the way in which I look and in which I explain to an artist what they are from some points of view, is that they are owners, from my point of view, of an amazing house, that they don't know how to value. They don't know what's the value of their house. Yes, they receive some rent because there are some people that, are renting that house. They don't know where from or why, but they keep receiving money out of this house. But they have no clue what's the value. If they want to sell it tomorrow, or if they want to lend it in order to maybe get some money, monetize it, in order to then invest in their own career. So our job is to provide a proper, fair market value at any moment, a good representation on what could be a good value of this house. Because right now, before us, there is no market for this house, which again is the music rights, is the catalog, is the songs of this artist. Like if you're an artist and you want to understand how much, like you could value your catalog to understand, you probably can go to a label or to a publisher, one party by one. Or you can maybe engage with somebody who's actually trying to find somebody buying your catalog, but there's no market. So what we do is that we give the flexibility of fair market valuations, standardized valuations to the whole music industry somehow. Because by the way, in which you can, value one music catalog, which is maybe one specific genre for songs that were released, 10 years ago, you can also apply the same methodology to an infinite number, other numbers of catalogs and songs. So in order to properly create finally fair terms of valuation, of exchange of music rights. So it was kind of a long answer, but it's basically in financial terms working on a standardized cost of capital. And this, of course, doesn't come from one person, me, or anybody else in the company of ANote, but comes from the market participants. Anybody who is buying and selling a portion of a music right on our platform has a say in how music is valued. If they think, for example, a catalog is too expensive, they will sell it, the price will go lower, and hey, here you have the valuation. So let's say again, standardization, fair market terms, discovery of the wealth of music is probably our biggest impact in the music industry.
All right, thank you for that. And no answer is too long, honestly. After all, we were here to know more about the project. Right. So
Be careful.
so let me ask, and I want to ask this because this is a crypto space, and you can never tell who's listening. We have a lot of celebrities who are into crypto, just that they're not loud about it, right? So we might have people who are into music listening right now. That is why I want to ask, how does ANote Music or what steps does ANote Music take to ensure fair and transparent distribution of music royalties to artists and songwriters? If you could, touch more on that before we move ahead.
Well, actually, the point of distribution of royalties to artists, of gains to artists, I think it's already pretty advanced. Like if you are an artist, you create a song, and then typically, you record the song and then you distribute it. You typically distribute it to Spotify, YouTube, TikTok, and so on and so forth, using what is called a distributor, a digital distributor, which is a company in charge of disseminating your MP3 on the APIs of the various Spotifys of the situation. And whenever this distributor then after 3 months or 6 months comes back to you and says, hey, your song has actually generated, 30,000 euros or dollars in royalties, it does so by giving you a very, very big Excel file with all the information about where the song was listened, how many times on Spotify, on YouTube, in what area, and what is the royalty rate. So there is already a pretty, I would say, granular, extremely granular actually, distribution of information, so transparent information of royalty payouts to artists, labels, publishers, or songwriters. Maybe the problem is on some inefficiencies in actually the collection of royalties. So imagine that maybe you are a songwriter, you produce a song, and then this song is played in a concert on the other side of the earth. And maybe in that concert, there is another artist who's singing it, and you're not able to capture it. Yes, it is. But I believe that the efficiency of the music industry is increasing more and more and more. On our side, what we do is that, what we can do is, again, no magic wand. We cannot change on a global basis, the entire process of royalty distribution collection. But what we can do is education, transparency, and making sure that everybody understands how music is actually making money. Because it's pretty common, for us to have to explain also the concept of royalties. How is it possible that if I make a song and it's listened in Japan, I actually receive royalties here if I'm in Europe? So this educational process, I think, is the proper way to create transparency and self-awareness for the music industry, as well as awareness for every one of us that listens to music but doesn't have a clue about how it works.
All right. Now, speaking about education, right? Before I go to the question I was going to ask, as you were talking, you just hit on the point about education, and I just feel like I need to ask now. A lot of these artists that, as time goes on, ANote is going to be on board, and some of these music artists, most of them actually, are not crypto native. Yes, that's the word. They are not crypto native. And speaking of education, some of them might actually be really, really interested in, the seamless merging of music and cryptocurrency, right? Once their eyes have been open to it. So, what measures do you have on ground to educate not just the music artists, not just the songwriters, even record labels? You might get to see a lot of migration, as a note would be like sort of like a medium for migration for these people into crypto. So what measures have you put on ground to educate them properly, to understand how
Well, I believe that the best way to show to especially big players in the industry about how something works is just by doing it. And after a while, I promise you that they will be the ones knocking on your door and saying, "Hey, I love what you're doing. Can we talk?" And this happens more and more and more. Like we have a lot of big players in different fields from financial markets saying, "Hey, I love the asset class of music." Before us, they wouldn't know how to start, where to start to look at music. But the way that we look at music somehow is understandable by players in the financial markets. Also, players from the music industry, they come to us and say, "Hey, actually, it would be cool maybe to have, maybe seeing what's the value of my catalog, monetizing, not 100% of it. Maybe I can list 1% of my catalog." So again, learning and teaching and showing by doing. That's the most important aspect. Because you can be as a good professor of the world, I mean, the best professor in the world, but, like practice and having a platform which somehow is understandable, I believe is the best.
All right, thank you for that. Now, I have a lot of questions, but I want to try and manage my time so I can, give the community
Yeah.
opportunity to ask the questions. So, let me ask. Um, okay, let's see. Are there any specific genres or regions that ANote Music focuses on, or is the platform going to be open to artists from all musical backgrounds? Now, I'm asking this question because
Mhm.
I don't know if you're familiar with this, but in Africa, especially, I don't know, I'm just speaking for Nigeria because that is the one that I know. The Gen Z generation, they have this upcoming genre that they call Afro depression. I find it so
Okay.
interesting. you
Okay.
know yeah, and I know that a lot of people do not know about it, so that is why I'm asking this question.
Mhm.
Will A-Note Music be open to music of all genres and all regions and all backgrounds of music, or is it going to focus on specific genres?
I mean, the answer is 100% yes. We are here for music, not to have some specific tastes, or some music or genre that we prefer. Definitely, I have my tastes that I think are very different from yours because I have a very Italian songs relationship. I love Italian songs and soundtracks. But I mean, apart from my personal tastes, I mean, of course, I mean, we are open to every genre. And I think you need to know that one of the most important determinants to understand what is the value of a music catalog of songs is its genre. If the genre is doing well, I mean, you're in safe hands, let's say. Then, of course, there are some specific areas like who is the artist, how is it going, and is it touring, how old are the songs. These are all determinants of the value of a catalog and whether next year it will perform more or less in terms of royalties. But the genre is the most important. That said, yes, we're open 100%, and we try to be diversified as much as possible on our platform. But we only have, like kind of two parameters, let's say, if we want to put it like this, before onboarding a catalog on our platform. First of all, it needs to be a catalog which is somehow established. So songs that are not super new, otherwise you don't know how much they will go, how much and so on. So they need to be at least 3 years old so that you can look at the royalties of the last 3 years and derive your conclusions in terms of possible evaluation. And the second parameter is that we need to make sure that we are able to receive the royalties so that investors or our customers, a fan base, and whoever is buying a portion of the catalog is ensured that it will receive royalties over the years. These are the two only parameters.
All right. Now, before I move on to the next question, real quick, I would like to state that as mind this upcoming genre called Afro depression. As much as I find it, interesting and intriguing, the way you find something that's new, and you're curious about it, I would like to state that my taste in music is very, very classical. I'm more of a instrumental, classical, kind of girl, and jazz.
Okay,
Yes, that's my
okay.
taste.
All right.
Yes. All right. Now let me ask, and I think I'm gonna rush these questions real quick so that we can take from the community. Let me ask, how do you have measures to, put in place to engage with community for the sake of feedback, to continually improve your platform. Yes, the measures. I feel like this is a very, very key part of any venture project. Feedback from users. So, do you have this, in place?
Of course, that's the most important aspect. Always, I mean, you always need to be in contact with the customers and trying to understand what they want, what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong. If you're doing right, it's a moment for celebration. If you're doing wrong, it's a moment to roll up your sleeves and solve the problem. So yes, of course, I mean, we have a team which is in charge on an ongoing basis of customer support. We are, to be 100% honest, during weekends, maybe a little bit less responsive, but I mean, we are 100% committed to responding as soon as possible. I mean, as soon as we receive some comments, some feedback, like from the community, everything is internally discussed as soon as possible. If there is for any reason something that needs to be noticed on the platform, we have our development team which is hands-on immediately. I mean, that's the basics, like I believe in creating kind of a platform which is at the service of the consumer, right, of the customer, of anybody who is actually giving you the honor of signing up. I mean, we have a duty of, excellence as much as possible to this. And so, yeah, we also have Discord, of course. Discord is a very important channel for us, as well as all the other social media in which we're active.
Amazing, amazing. Now let's quickly talk about from the perspective of an investor. Now we've covered what you're offering, the utility that you offer to music artists and all that. But an investor listening to us will just want us to skip to the part where he understands the benefit to him. Why should I, I'm not a music artist. I'm not a songwriter. I don't have a record label. I just want to buy into this project. So could you give us some of the utilities of the token, especially for the benefit of long-term holders? Yes.
Yes, definitely. I mean, our token is an instrument to bring to life something that was demanded by our community, which is a loyalty program, a system to enhance and to ease their experience on the platform. Like we have received so many questions over the last 3 years, like our activity of launching the product, ranging from, hey, can we have a cashback when we buy a catalog, or a discount, or like even people that ask us, can we have more royalties? Can I have more royalties? I mean, like to some questions you need to answer, of course, no. Because I mean, can I have more royalties when I buy a catalog? No, I mean, 1 + 1 = 2. Like the royalties are this one, the royalties are this one as paid by the distributor. So we cannot, of course, magically increase. But we have all the feedback, from the most interesting one to I would like to, engage more with the platform. I would like to be rewarded if I do some actions. We have taken and we have created, as an outcome, what we call the Backstage Pass, which is our loyalty program, which is also offering an additional set of services to our customer base, because we want to create the Backstage program as we would create kind of the American Express of the music industry. Kind of a system in which you have a series of points that are our tokens that enhance your experience when you do things that you do on a daily basis, which is, for example, in our case, you might be listening to streaming, you may be paying your streaming fees, or you might be going to concerts, or you might be buying into catalogs on our platform. So our token is the one which is facilitating, this provision of these additional services in the form of discounts when you buy catalogs on the platform, or we are committed to paying a portion of the streaming fees, depending, of course, on the amount of tokens held on our platform. All of this is, of course, consumable on our platform. So again, we believe that this is kind of a very interesting project because it's a great use case of loyalty. The loyalty programs, I think, are definitely one of the best use cases for crypto. Like you see big companies like airline companies that are looking at crypto right now to represent their air miles, the miles. You also have a series of big consumer brands that are looking at using crypto, as loyalty points, and that's exactly what we're doing. So it's a great way to improve the usability of our platform and reward our user base based on the activities on the platform and provide additional advantages when you buy a music catalog.
Thank you, thank you, thank you for that. Now, could you, in the same breath, just really quickly give us a breakdown of the tokenomics before I move on to, the other questions that I have, just real quick. Yeah.
Yes. So the tokenomics are, right now we're doing a pre-sale with our partner TrustSwap, and we are there's an up to 8.5%, which is going to be available for pre-sale, and it has 12.5% release at TG, and the rest after 2-month cliff over a 7-month period, so in total 9 months of vesting. Then there's going to be the public. The public also is going to be 7% of the total. We are planning to do the public in beginning of Q4, so that's our target. For the rest, we have ecosystem, which is 36%, which is very important for us. But of course, it's kind of it's for us the opportunity to provide rewards to our customer base in the form of token. But of course, everything is based on models, to compensate supply and demand. Was always to have a balance of customers that use the token, customers that have to hold the tokens if they want to receive the benefits. So that's these are kind of, I would say, the major points. We also have a portion for advisors and a portion for the team, and some portions for our treasury, which is basically our reserve to hold to balance the unexpected in the coming years.
Yeah. All right. So talking about having some portion for the advisors and all of that, I think I would like to ask this question, and I usually ask teams, especially teams that are behind projects that are offering like really, really good utility, because I know that to be able to offer good utility, a project with good utility, it takes, I feel like it's costly, obviously. So it prompts the question how you were able to fund development of the project up until now. Was there any was the out of team podcast backing? If you could just give us more information on that.
Yes. No, we are Web 2.5 project, so we haven't and we don't plan to actually use any Web3 funding for the foreseeable future. We have been always funded by business angels, We have also found, I would say yes, the perfect categorization is business angels, which is players that for us were essential to reach a state that we have reached. Players that have a great understanding of the music business, of the financial business, and of the entrepreneurial also aspects of launching and keep a company like ANote Music thriving. So yeah, the funding has come from traditional sources, let's say, so far. We have also received a very interesting, a very important backing from very important institutions, like the Ministry of Economy of Luxembourg has partially co-funded our research and development since we were like a baby company a few years ago. And also the Algorand Foundation has provided some support through grants a couple of years ago. And we have also received a bunch of awards that, of course, they contribute to the funding needs of the company and current development. I mean, traditional stuff, let's say.
All right. As you were talking, I was just taking notes of the turnout for this Twitter space. And apparently, we are what? Over 700 people tuned in. I mean, because this is music, and this is, like I said from the beginning, something that is not
That's
so
cool.
common in the space. So I feel like any investor worth their salt in the crypto space, when you see something that is worthwhile, that is looking good, you just want to know more about it. I'm not talking about the DGen buyers. I'm talking about, people people who
Yeah.
are still interested in investing in long-term based projects. Now, let me ask real quick before I open it up. So anyone in the community who would like to ask a question, please, you can use the request button and I will try to take your questions. Now, I think I have two more questions, and that will be collaborations. Yes, collaborations and networking and partnerships. I mentioned that uh, I mentioned about something being a very key part of any project, and now I think this is another major important part of any project, partnerships and collaboration. So, let me ask this: assuming I own a record label, let's just assume I'm DJ Khaled, and I own a record label. I have artists signed, and I would like to collaborate with ANote Music, right? Is that possible? That's the first question. And the second question, what would be the benefit? Now, I know the benefit to my music artists, the ones I have signed, I know the benefits to them. But what would be the benefit to my record label as DJ
For
Khaled?
me,
If you could just
yes. But actually, how to say, one big important question that we always receive is that we are always like kind of represented as the platform to connect artists with fan base, investors, and music enthusiasts. We are more than this, and we are a platform to connect anybody from the music industry that owns music rights to yes, fan base, investors, and music enthusiasts. Meaning that on the other side, of the of the platform, we deal with not only artists, but we also deal with songwriters. Songwriters are always kind of, everybody's thinking about the artist, but actually, the songwriter is the one that is writing the lyrics of a song. He's probably one of the most important persons, in the music creation process. Then we also work with record labels. Record labels, at the end of the day, they are also the ones that promote and make sure that the artist has a place maybe to record the song or promotes the song, or make sure that the artist has, meets the right, the right songwriter, so has the lyrics for the song that he wants to record. And then also we work with publishers. So any of these four, let's say, people, the artist, songwriter, publisher, label has music rights, so receives royalties out of a song. So we on our platform we have catalogs from artists, but also a lot from songwriters or from record labels and publishers. And each of these players are actually interested in saying, how can I monetize my catalogs? because they all share one thing, which is music, rights, royalties. So they're equally important for us. So in the case that you mentioned, for us it would be double opportunity, because not only we would get access maybe to the artists which are managed or which are represented by the label, but also to the label itself, which is of course for us. I mean, it also has some rights and could list the catalog on our platform.
All right, all right. Now, one last question. Um, and this is in the aspect of marketing, another very, very important aspect. Now, I think I would still bring up the question about, collaboration, but this has to do with marketing. Now, I feel like, and this is just me, correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like a collaboration with any of these people that you've mentioned, and I would like to pick a record label, and I'm picking them because record labels, they have connections, according to you, they are the ones who promote the artists and all of that. So they have the connection, they have the fan base, they have the crowd, and they have the experience, right? So, do you have any sort of collaborations planned? Like, is this something that is going to be possible in the future for ANote
Mhm.
Music to collaborate with the big record labels? Because it is going to be, to me, I feel like it's going to be a crazy, crazy powerful sort of marketing for ANote Music, right? So,
Yes,
could you,
yes.
yes. So, could you give us some of the marketing strategies that you have to target these people, the songwriters, the publishers, the artists, and like I asked, do you have any collaboration in the future?
Yes, 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 no, definitely. I mean, we have been doing collaborations since our start, and we will keep doing very, very interesting and prolific collaborations. We already have, like very, very good net, I would say, network, in the music industry. We have catalogs from 8 different countries, which is, I think, probably kind of a record, including, like from France, Poland, Italy, Canada, United States, Denmark, Lithuania. We are now looking also at the Asian market, where we are seeing some pretty interesting opportunities. So yes, I mean, we live out of collaborations, partnerships, like I would say synergetic relationship with many, many players in the music business. We have amazing things, very, very big ones that unfortunately, right now I cannot disclose. I believe we will be able to disclose them probably by the end of Q3. But I mean, being more conservative, I would say Q4. So yes, 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 no, got it totally right. I mean, that's our word, like speaking with and meeting and event. Okay, and how to reach them? I mean, yeah, it's events, but most and foremost, word of mouth, and having kind of, how to say, a network of satisfied people that understand that there is a very structured way of doing things that we're doing, and that are more than happy to actually engage in conversations and then do business together.
Amazing. All right. Thank you so much for answering that. Now, I think I'll just take questions from the community and then I will reserve. Ooh, yeah, I think I have one more question, but I think I'll take it at the end of, you know, this session. So let's see. While I unmute these people, I think there's a question in the comment section that caught my attention. And this one's from David Edit, and he's basically asking what your inspiration is for creating ANote music. I believe he was not with us from the beginning of the session when you covered it. But at late part, he asked, can you share with us your major challenges? What are the major challenges that you have encountered while working on the project?
Well. The major challenges, for sure, it's I was an outsider from an industry in which I was trying to build something. That was definitely the most important, the biggest challenge, especially at the beginning. I mean, I didn't know how the music industry worked. I had no clue how royalties were generated. And now I find myself after quite some years having to explain this to the rest. So that took quite some time, to develop the network, understanding, and really putting myself in the shoes of people that I had never actually, understood their business, the business of music, of making music, the creative process of making music. So yeah, that's one of the big challenges. And I promise you, I'm very bad at singing, and I cannot play any instruments, but I listen to a lot of music. So that's probably also something that helped me a lot. Really empathize, but from the point of view of a consumer. So never from a creative mind.
All right. Thank you for answering that. Now, I have Bard. Yes, Bard. You have been unmuted, so please go ahead with your question, Bard.
All right, thanks, Jenny, for the opportunity. That's been a very informative session. So my question is, do users need to pay taxes on the royalty interest that they receive? And also, I just want to know if uh, what are these music royalties? What are they all about? Thank you.
Okay. So yes, you're asking whether you. But thank you for the question, Bard. So you're asking whether from the point of view of taxation of royalties, whether we take care of it or not. That's your question, right?
Yeah. If users need to pay
Okay.
taxes, yes.
Okay. And then regarding the royalties, okay, let me first answer to the second question, which is what are royalties? So royalties are how to say, the remuneration, the income that a music right owner, so an artist, songwriter, publisher, label, producer, is entitled to any time that his songs or her songs are listened to. So if a song is played in front of more than 5 people, let's say, it's considered to be public performance. So somehow should actually pay. So someone should actually pay royalties or a fee, a ticket fee, and then a portion of this goes in the hands of whoever created that song. So again, the royalties are it's like when you pay your Spotify, a portion of that goes to anybody that was part of the creation of a given song, or when you pay, whenever there is an advertisement on YouTube, YouTube has to transfer a portion of that advertisement revenues to the songs that were played in the video on which the advertisement is based. When you go to a concert again, you pay for a ticket. A portion of the ticket price goes to the to the creators of the songs that were played in the concert. So this is what is royalty. Again, royalties are money, cash flows, revenues, income that flow to whoever produces a song on an ongoing basis. And in terms of taxation, the taxation on royalties varies that much depending on where you're from. So if you are an artist, for example, because also the problem also lies at the source. If you're an artist and you receive, I don't know, 10,000 euros in royalties, how much should you pay? Again, this depends on where you're based. Same thing if you are, a music fan and you purchase a portion of the catalog through our platform and then you receive these 10,000 euros, how it should be taxed? Again, this depends. Fortunately, we are not, like fiscal experts, and we always recommend to check on an initial basis with your fiscal, advisors before making any move. And but yeah, on royalties, you typically pay taxes apart for maybe some specific countries on earth in which maybe there is a more, how to say, favorable treatment. As also maybe kind of a digression, usually though there is indeed a favorable treatment for royalties. Why? Because royalties are usually earned by players, people, persons in the creative sector. So usually fiscal regulators across the world, on a national basis, they tend to favor, from a fiscal treatment point of view, the what to say, yeah, the creative sector. So let's say the personal tax rate is 40%. For royalties, it's more likely to be 30 than 40%, just to say.
All right, that's very informative and interesting. Thanks so much for the explanations. Good luck to your project. Thanks, Jenny, for the opportunity.
Thanks
Thank
to you,
you,
Bard.
Bard.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the question. All right. So up next, we have Nadia. Nadia, um,
Hey,
please
Nadia.
go ahead with your question if you can hear me.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes. Go ahead.
All right, thanks Jenny for the opportunity. So
Sure.
my question is how do users benefit from referral bonus and how can users confirm and correctly validate their identity?
All right. So yes, on our platform we already have a referral mechanism according to which you, as a referrer, you and your referee, you both receive, a reward the moment that your referee actually turns out purchases and catalogs on our platform. In terms of KYC, we have an integrated KYC procedure on our platform. So usually when you sign up, you name, surname, email address, and then the next step is terms and conditions and then KYC. After you complete the KYC, of course, as I mentioned before, we have a customer support, which is always there to help in case, the KYC procedure is for whatever reason complex. And after the KYC procedure is completed, there is the creation of a wallet on our platform, which is a fiat wallet. So right now it's important to remember that it's fiat euros, and on which, of course, all the transactions of music catalogs happen. Now, with the introduction of the token and the backstage program in Q4, we will also have, of course, the integration with crypto wallets, both externals and we are foreseeing also with the internal ones.
Okay, thank you very much for that explanation and thanks so much Jenny and good luck to the project.
Thank you, Nadia. Thank you very much.
Right. Thank you for your question. All right. I think we will take the last question from North.
Yeah, hello, Jenny. Thanks for the
Hey,
Hi.
North.
thanks. So my question, as classical violinists who don't actually have larger stage, I don't have maybe my own album or my own playing. So do I actually have a chance of getting into your platform and maybe producing my own music and you guys being the sponsor of all this?
I'm not sure I totally got the question. I think there was some maybe disturbances in the network.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. No, I could hear you also before, but it was, like the voice was cutting sometimes.
Was
Oh,
breaking. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Sorry about so my question is, as a classical violinist who don't actually have my own album or have a big stage to perform, can I still come to your platform and you guys maybe sort of sponsor me into growing big and then maybe just being my sponsor or like my
Got it. No, I got it. No, thank you, North. I got the question. Well, the point is that on our platform, as I was mentioning before, we focus on songs that are more established, popular, because you need to put yourself in the shoes of a fan, somebody that has no clue about about music, right? So when they buy a portion of the catalog, it's pretty complex, to try to make expectations or projections of the future. So what you do is you typically look at how a song has performed in the past. That's kind of the way to understand whether a song is popular, whether it has picked up, and so on and so forth. So that's kind of how we have structured, let's say, the market. Now, at the same time, in terms of new songs and promoting and supporting and so on, that's typically the job of a record label or a publisher or a manager. Definitely, we can put in contact with some, but it's not like I would be lying if I could tell you that yes, I have the formula. No, that's something that we typically give to the opportunity to do to players whose job is indeed to promote, to support, in the process of indeed growing growing your music and your creativity.
all right. Thanks. I guess I may have to still grow myself more. Thanks, Jenny. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Noah. Thank you very much.
Thank you, North. Thank you so much for the question. And honestly, about growing yourself more, I think that, there are always opportunities to connect to the right people, that will sponsor you or work with you. So please don't stop um searching, you know. So yeah. Right. Um Thank you guys for the question, everyone. I think even the last question I was going to ask, somebody already asked that. So, yeah, that covers it. But Matthew, I think I would like you to go over the details for your pre-sale, as that is very important. As investors here might want to know more about, investing and buying into the public sale. So, could you give us more details on your pre-sale before we end the session?
Yes, definitely. I mean, the pre-sale is happening at the price of 9.5 cents, dollar cents, and we will in total be having 8.5 million tokens out of a total fixed supply of 100 million tokens, and it will be released 12.5% at TGE, token generating event, and then we have 2 months cliff, and then 9 months.
All right, but where is this pre-sale happening? Just to be clear.
It's happening on TrustSwap. Yes, sorry, apologies. I didn't mention this.
TrustSwap.
It's happening on TrustSwap.
Okay.
Yes. We have partnered with them.
All right.
So yeah, it's that is the process on TrustSwap, which is using their methodology of like the leaderboard. And I suggest maybe for everybody potentially interested in TrustSwap to check out their website and their community. They have an amazing community, community managers that are always there to answer any questions, and I'm sure that they will be able to provide answers. I believe that we just entered right now into the first phase, so I think yes, it's 5 o'clock Central European time, so it's just entered the pre-sale has just started. I think it will be open for another 23 hours.
Beautiful, beautiful. So everyone has enough time to participate. All right. Thank you so much, Matthew, for taking out the time to come chat with us. It was really, really fun talking to you. And also, it's, you really know how to educate about a particular topic. So if you ever think about diversifying, perhaps you should think about education or maybe tokenizing it.
I will think about it, next venture.
All right. So thank you for
Jenny,
joining
for
us.
having me.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone, also for the questions.
Yeah, and for everyone who participated and asked questions, thank you so much. Now, I would like to point out that it's important for you to go follow ANote Music on Twitter, follow the official Twitter page, and also join their Discord community. This is important so that you get to stay updated on every announcement or every new update. And secondly, this is to protect you from malicious actors out there who might want to scam you and all of that. So it's very important that you do that. Lastly, I would like to close by saying, as I always say, that no matter how excited I may be about any project that I chat with here, none of what we do here is financial advice, and you have the sole responsibility to do your research extensively on any project that we present here. All right. So once again, thank you, and thank you, Matthew, for joining us.
Thank you, Jenny. Thank you, everyone.
All right. So see you guys in our next session. Bye.